I'm Dan McDermott. Warren County political activist Matt Tiedrich has released this letter to voters. It's very critical of Vice Mayor Bret Hrbek. Hrbek is seeking re-election to his seat on town council. That election is on Tuesday, May 4th. Among the charges in the letter, Tiedrich is critical of Hrbek's idea to charge fees to participate in the town's annual Christmas parade, and says that Hrbek should not have sold bonds for an Ohio company that does business with Front Royal. Adjacent to this video is a link to the letter. We encourage you to read it. We've reached out to Mr. Tiedrich, and we hope to interview him on camera soon. In the meantime, we hear from the subject of Tiedrich's wrath, Vice Mayor Bret Hrbek, interviewed by Warren County Report's Roger Bianchini.
We've become aware in the last hour or so of a rather scathing letter from Matt Tiedrich sent out to voters on Tuesday, April 20th. Mr. Tiedrich, a fellow local Republican, accuses you of everything from hating children to conflicts of interest and being drunk with power of public office. He seems committed to seeing anyone but you be elected or re-elected on May 4th. How do you respond to the allegations? I know you've seen this letter.
I have. I was a little shocked by it. Unfortunately, Mr. Tiedrich and I probably agree on, I would imagine, 90% of things when it comes to national and state politics and when it comes to family values and a lot of the cultural issues. I'm not quite sure where he's coming from on these allegations. He lists them out in his letter. I have a pretty thorough response, I think, to point by point, but he reaches inaccurate conclusions. He exaggerates in some of the allegations, and frankly, I think he's misleading in some of them as well.
So you have a response. Where is that response? Because obviously you may not have the same mailing list he had.
I posted it on my website at votehrbek.com, as well as on the Facebook page, Vote Hrbek Facebook page. So you can see it there. I've also distributed on my email a list of my contacts of people in Front Royal.
Would you care to respond directly to some of the issues he raises here?
Well, sure. First of all, he brings up the $40,000 check that the town did not give back to the county and a donation. Very convoluted issue, frankly. But we didn't fulfill the obligation of the will, and we returned the check back to the estate as the will stated we must. And then the donors were able to give that money to the county. So ultimately the money got to the county. It was a matter of just doing it in a proper way and making sure that we were protecting the town along the way. So if we did it wrongly or incorrectly, we could have been held liable for that.
So you weren't trying to keep disadvantaged children from getting swimming lessons?
No, we're not trying to make sure that those kids are drowning in the pool by any stretch. I have 3 kids of my own, so the idea that I hate little kids is a little absurd. He reaches back 10 years from when I was volunteer officer with the Downtown Business Association, which, by the way, I don't even have a business downtown, so that was a purely volunteer. It's an interest to build the downtown. That I somehow, that I imposed a fee on the parade. I did suggest that. They did adopt it in order to upgrade the parade, also to help fund the DBA, as well as to provide prize money for the floats, which I think was a pretty reasonable thing. They may even be doing it 10 years later. He goes after me about this AMP Ohio alleged conflict. There is no conflict. I can't speak too much more about it because it gets into some things with the SEC and FINRA where I need permission to speak about some of those from my firm. But there was no conflict because the bonds that Edward Jones participated in had nothing to do with the bonds that Front Royal bought into or the plants that Front Royal bought into. He talks about, he makes it sound like I am the sole reason why Chick-fil-A is not here. I'll have to pull up my my picture with Truett Cathy and me that I have, but I got taken down in Atlanta to show you how much I love Chick-fil-A, and I'd really like to see them come. But I don't see how I single-handedly stop these companies from coming, since I'm 1 vote out of 6 that make these decisions. So on and on and on. He paints me as this ringleader. I wish I had the power that he suggests I have. I wish I was able to wave a magic wand to get 6 members or 5 members to follow everything I did. But I think for the first couple of years, I was always it was always suggested I was Dr. No, because I would say no and everybody else said yes to things, and I constantly lost. And I haven't really had a successful track record of winning some of the issues of the past 2 years. What I have had is a successful track record of speaking out on issues. And it's probably the biggest fault I have is that I run my mouth too much. I answer questions, I speak what I want to say, and I'm not very diplomatic about it.
There's been several issues raised recently from the RFP surrounding the solar project. Stories circulated tying the word bribe to members of town staff and the whole RFP process. Do you see a pattern of public relations here right before the election happens, seemingly with the goal of impacting this election? Sure. The incumbents have been targeted, as at the forum last night.
Right. You can definitely, if people look into it, they're going to be able to connect dots and see what who the players are involved with a lot of these allegations, who's causing the problems, who's elevating it to the level that the press picks it up. I think that I can't go out there and make any accusations in that regard because some of these people aren't public figures. But there's certainly, I think that if you looked at it and you could draw some pretty reasonable conclusions on who is talking to who's working with who, and whose interests are aligned with whose.
Anything else to say?
Well, I want to say that if you're looking for a positive moving forward on energy development, on job creation, on a fair tax base, then I'm the candidate that has a track record of that. I invite people to research my background. Mr. Teacher challenges people who got that letter to look into it, and I challenge them too. Look into the record. Visit my website, visit the town's website, and look at the minutes, see how the debates have formed, see who made what arguments, and I think when you do that, you will come to the same conclusion that I have done a very good job for the town of Front Royal. My motives are pure, and unfortunately, some of the folks that are attacking are perhaps have some other agenda items that they're trying to succeed in.
Mr. Hrbek, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.